Hi everyone, welcome to this week's I've Been Playing. Today we're talking about a game that just became available on Xbox Game Pass, and that is Destroy All Humans! So this version of Destroy All Humans is a remake of the original game that came out in 2005. I think there are several in the series. There are at least 2 that I noticed, possibly 3, but I'm not sure. I never played them before, which is part of why I wanted to play it now, to get kind of an understanding of what it was, but that does mean that I don't know how it compares to the original game. Obviously it looks better, the graphics are updated because it just came out, I believe, somewhere about halfway through last year. I want to say summer of last year. I know it was last year, I don't remember specifically. So unfortunately I can't give you an update of the updates they've made because I don't know what they are otherwise. From the looks of things, it seems that maybe some of the upgrades are a little different, or some things are a little different in that way, and some of the progression and stuff is a little different as well. So there is a story in this game. I would say it's one of those games that the story doesn't necessarily matter. It doesn't suffer from if you don't pay attention to the story or don't pay as much attention to the story as maybe you would, or the game would like you to. It is all interconnected, obviously, and the missions build off each other, and there is a story where, I mean, the story is, if you're interested or don't know, is that you are Crypto137. You start with watching your former iteration crash onto Earth, and then you get, as a clone, you're a clone, you get sent down to kind of destroy humans. First of all, obviously, it's in the title, but also to kind of eventually you want to recover that previous clone if possible, or, you know, whatever. It's also set in the 50s, so there's a lot of kind of not comparing, what's the word I want? US citizens freaking out that it's communists coming over and stuff like that. There's a layer of that as well. There's also the military is out to get you, because obviously you have to have enemies of some sort. So there's the military out to get you, as well as a shady organization that doesn't seem to quite be part of the military, but they're like the CIA, maybe? I don't know. And they may have said it, I forgot or didn't notice, but there's that. So that's kind of how you can't just go and wreck people up, although it's for the most part, easy to do. And there is more to the story than that. There's the reason you're destroying humans is to help your clones because they're getting worse and worse and stuff like that. But as I said, the story, the fun is the gameplay, or it's supposed to be the fun is the gameplay, not the story. So if, you know, there's a story there, but it's one of those games that feels like it could have no story at all and it would be just as fun to play. Now, I haven't actually finished the whole game yet, and I'll get into why in a second, but it's not very long. It doesn't feel very long. On the missions themselves, there seem to be a lot of them, but they're not long in and of themselves, especially if you're good at the game. I'm not good at the game, I'm just gonna throw that out there. I'm really bad at it because I'm impatient, but none of them are that long. They kind of have the objectives themselves take not very long at all, and then a lot of times, especially early on, it feels like you'll have, like, you know, a minute and a half of playing and then a cutscene, and then a minute and a half of playing and then a cutscene, or a minute and a half of one objective, then a minute of another, then a couple of minutes of another, and then the mission's over, especially early on, which is nice in some ways, but also, like, if you're enjoying the game, you want more of it, right? And there doesn't seem to be more of that expansion happening. Now, they do have challenges, which I don't know if they were present in the original game or not, but you can go back to areas and take on specific challenges, which I haven't tried yet, but it looks like there are different, there's one called Abduction, which it's pretty self-explanatory, I would think. Pretty sure there's another one called Destruction, which also is self-explanatory. So I don't know if that's added, as I said, but that is something you can do, at least, that allows you to revisit those areas and retry things if you want to. And I would say for the most part it seems pretty easy as well. There are some points I've noticed where I don't catch what they're telling me to do, or I don't realize what they're having me to do, and I had a little trouble with that. Sometimes it seems like it's not quite clear. There is also a lot of, understandably, you can stealth yourself and, like, pretend you're human and stealth through things, but there are often times where, you know, there'll be somebody looking at you and it ruins it immediately as you try to transform into somebody because there was somebody you didn't see, like, around a corner or standing somewhere you thought they couldn't see you, but they could, and it's really hard to do that sometimes. It's also, there are some points where the difficulty seems to spike really drastically, and it also seems like the enemies respawn constantly, so if you get into some sort of gunfight, especially if you don't have enough ammo or something, or there's not many places to hide, or it feels like you can't run away, it's really easy to feel like you're getting overwhelmed by enemies because they don't stop coming, which is kind of annoying. That also leads me into the part where I'm stuck at, which I rage quit and haven't returned to yet, but there's one point where what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to escort something, which we all love an escort mission, right? So I'm escorting a vehicle down a road, and I'm stuck in one area because the other times I've ruined it or had to respawn or something, it feels like it's up to the health of whatever I'm doing or gotten rid of the enemies or some combination thereof, so it makes it a little easier when I load back in. But this one point where I'm escorting this vehicle down the road, I start every time it reloads me in that section, because I've died at least 10 or 15 times there because I just can't do it, it puts the vehicle at like a quarter health as I start, and then it goes around a corner and it instantly loses half of that, so it's already at an eighth, and then it doesn't stop moving, and I keep trying to put things in its way to stop it or stand in front of it to stop it, but if I do that, I can't take care of the things that are destroying it, and then there are landmines that I have to get rid of, but it doesn't stop moving, and I can't get it to stop moving even though I try to put a rock in front of it, and I'm trying to put a rock in front of it, but the rocks don't go down on the road. You fling them across the map, and it's just frustrating, and you can tell it's frustrating, and I want to go back and finish it because for the most part I'm having fun. It's not that long a game. I want to finish it, but every once in a while there's this difficulty spike and it just seems unnecessary and really unbalanced and like something you should probably have taken care of when you're making a remake. Another thing that caused problems in this section, and I didn't have any other problems with this in any other part of the game that I remember, but the frame rate absolutely tanked, which did not help. It didn't tank every time, it was just one go through, but it was a slideshow. It was bad. And there have been a few times as well, like the first time I booted up the game, it didn't actually load. It did the initial load up and it did the THQ Nordic company screen, whatever you want to call that, and then it just went to black for 5 minutes and I couldn't do anything. So that was a good start to the game. And then also sometimes the loading times are atrocious, just absolutely bad, especially considering this came out last year. I mean, there's no reason the loading screens should take that long. I realize I'm on an Xbox One and not in a fancy new Xbox, but that's still no excuse. It's a remake of a, 15-year-old game or something? Like, it should be better than that, even with the upgrades that they did give it. So all in all, I think I'm having fun with it. It's a nice quick game if you want a quicker game. It's, as I said, available right now on Game Pass, so if you have an Xbox and haven't played it or want a hit of nostalgia or whatever, you can do that. It's probably worth it. You know, and the last thing I would say is that you can kind of tell it's an older game in many ways. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing, and I'm not saying that you shouldn't play it because of that, obviously. It's fun. It's fun to pick up as long as you can, there are annoyances here and there, but overall it's enjoyable. You just keep in mind that it still feels very much like a 15-year-old game, just with newer graphics a lot of the time. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think of the game, either version, like the original or this one, down in the comments below. Let me know if you've played it, if you are gonna play it, all that fun stuff. If you enjoyed this, please leave a like and consider subscribing. I do one of these almost every Monday. It depends on whether I have time to play a game or not. And yeah, I'd love to see you here. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next episode.